id Software, the studio behind the legendary Doom series, is about to drop the biggest DLC expansion in the history of shooter games. This is not an exaggeration, this is a simple fact. And this expansion is going to be a part of the most recent Doom game, Doom: The Dark Ages. But let's quickly take a step back so that we can truly understand the scope and meaning behind this update. You know how some games just come out and they're great and you love playing them? And you just think to yourself, wow, why did I not find this earlier? This is a classic. Why did I not find this as early as possible? One example of this in the shooter game space is Doom Eternal, truly a modern classic. A game that you will remember playing and exploring 15, 20 years from now. But chances are, you guys already know this. So here's something I'm willing to bet you don't know. Another Doom Eternal is coming, right now. It is literally around the corner. And I'm gonna quickly explain exactly why and go over all the clues we've received regarding this giant DLC. But before I do, I just want to say that if you guys like this kind of content regarding shooter games like Doom and many others, as well as the design behind them, subscribe to the channel as I will be posting videos like this all the time. Thanks, now back to the video. You know about the recent Doom: The Dark Ages. Maybe you've played it a bit, maybe a lot. The game is brilliant, but either way people have their preferences and opinions. But here's the thing that everyone seems to be missing. This game is not finished at all. The game released last year with its amazing base campaign completed. However, since the very launch of the game, there's been talks and rumors of huge updates and expansions which would significantly impact the overall gameplay and experience. But since then, id Software hasn't released any major updates to the Dark Ages. Now, without context, you might think that this is bad or weird, but I'm here to tell you it is actually amazing, and here's why. Since the launch of the game, there have been Doom developer streams on YouTube happening every couple of weeks, and throughout these streams, one by one, we started getting little hints and clues regarding the upcoming DLC expansion for the Dark Ages. But here's the really interesting part. Over time, it became very obvious that this DLC is not going to be just another expansion like we would expect, no. This update is going to be so huge that it is basically a brand new game. I've had this opinion for a long time, and I was glad to see that recently, a couple of weeks ago, id Software has officially confirmed this themselves. And you have to remember guys, they have a huge and talented team working full time on this. So when a DLC is taking them a long time to finish, it does not mean something is wrong with the game. It means that they are absolutely cooking. And look, I understand, especially in today's gaming landscape, we might be used to frequent updates and smaller DLC expansions that keep us engaged, but this shouldn't matter to us at all in this situation. It is very obvious that they're making literally the biggest expansion in shooter game history, and all the waiting since launch is going to be absolutely worth it. Like, I'm 150% certain that it will shoot way past our expectations. Doom: The Dark Ages is already an amazing game that delivers on every single ambitious promise, but this is just gonna push it to the next level. But I still haven't told you the best part. Even though this expansion is going to be so massive and basically like a game of its own, it is not a game of its own. It is going to be a core part of Doom: The Dark Ages and really take the game to the insane next level. And I'm not exaggerating here, I don't know how other shooter games are supposed to compete with this. And I mean this in the best possible way. I love this whole genre of games. Based on all the hints and clues that we've received about the game in these developer streams, I can confidently say that once this update releases, Doom: The Dark Ages will easily become the next Doom Eternal, or I should say the second coming of Doom Eternal. By that of course, I don't mean it will replace Eternal as a game, but it will absolutely match it in the hype and incredible gameplay, and possibly even surpass it. Which is crazy to think about, but let me get into the specifics so you know exactly what I mean. There is a lot of interesting hints that have been dropped regarding the DLC, so now I'll just try to quickly go through all of them and then we'll see the interesting implications of each one. First of all, a new spear weapon has been confirmed to be in the DLC, serving not only as an offensive tool, but also as a mobility mechanic used for repositioning and traversal, which implies a stronger emphasis on movement and spatial control during encounters. Next, there will be at least one secret weapon tied to the game's lore, designed to be difficult to obtain and likely connected to exploration or progression systems. Next, and this might be my personal favorite, one of the confirmed new demons is the Archvile. Yes, the Archvile has been confirmed to return as an enemy, suggesting increased combat pressure and a renewed focus on movement, enemy prioritization, and disruption during fights. Given that Dark Ages likes throwing so many enemies at you in huge open battlefields, I can only imagine how brutal the Archvile is gonna be in this game. The upcoming DLC has been described by the game director as basically like a sequel, indicating a scope far beyond a typical add-on and closer to a second campaign. The gameplay is described as intentionally different from the base game, which suggests a shift in the core combat loop rather than a simple extension of existing mechanics. The progression structure is also non-linear, with confirmed backtracking, gated areas, and content that cannot be completed in a single playthrough, pointing toward a Metroidvania-style system where abilities or upgrades unlock previously inaccessible paths. Next, combat is also being restructured, including a system where full quick swapping, possibly coming back from Doom Eternal, is not immediately available and must instead be earned over time, indicating a slower early game pace and a gradual build-up to full combat complexity. Next, level design incorporates a mix of combat, exploration, and puzzle elements, shifting away from purely arena-based encounters toward interconnected environments that encourage revisiting and deeper engagement. Regarding the story, the narrative expands on the Doomslayer's lore and introduces characters previously only referenced, with storytelling delivered primarily through environmental details rather than cutscenes, following the stated philosophy of feel it, don't watch it. I think that in the upcoming story, the Slayer might get to fight the Order of Six, which were previously only mentioned. Completion of the DLC requires multiple passes through levels, with the developers indicating that a significant portion of content remains locked even after finishing the main path, reinforcing the focus on replayability and exploration. There are also indirect hints at additional mechanics, including a possible timing-based or perfect dodge system, though this has not been officially confirmed. Overall, the DLC is structured as a systemic evolution of the base game, shifting from immediate access to full power toward progression-based mechanics, from linear levels toward interconnected spaces, and from a fixed combat loop toward one that develops over time. This expansion is really shaping up to be one of a kind and absolutely packed with interesting content. It reminds me of the hype I had leading up to the release of Doom Eternal. The exact release date isn't known yet, however, I will be covering absolutely everything about this DLC as soon as it comes out, and there's going to be a lot, so stay tuned.